In chapter 38 and 39 of Ezekiel, it describes the Battle of Gog, which will be a large apocalyptic battle at the end of time, at the end of the last days. As kind of a description here, I'll read here in Ezekiel 38, 8 through 9, it says, And many days thou shalt, after many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. And thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. So this is talking to Gog, the kingdom of Gog, and they're saying that in the last days they are going to come upon the mountains of Israel like a cloud with all of their people to battle against it. If you go forward into verse 14, he says, Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, Thus saith the Lord God, in that day, when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it? And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes. Thus saith the Lord God, Art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them? And it shall come to pass at the same time when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord God, that my fury shall come up in my face, and in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel. So Gog's going to come up against Israel in a time where they're feeling safe, the people of Israel. Some people interpret this as at the end of the millennium. So the millennium is a prophesied time of peace for 1,000 years, and then at the end of the millennium, then this battle will take place, this battle of Gog and Magog, where Israel will be attacked. They feel safe, but they're going to be attacked by this giant host of people. And God is going to fight in this battle. There will be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so there'll be a great big earthquake. So the fishes of the sea and the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground, and I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Lord God. Every man's sword shall be against his brother. And I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him and upon his bands, and upon the many people that are with him, an overflowing rain with great hail and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. So God's going to fight in this battle with earthquakes, rain, fire, hailstones, and brimstone. What's going to happen in this battle is Gog is going to lose against Israel and the other people. So in chapter 39 it says, Therefore thou son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and leave but a sixth part of thee, and I will cause thee to come up from the north parts, and I will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. So he's going to kill 5/6. The 5/6 of the army of Gog will be destroyed in this battle. And the world is going to know that God fights for his people. Some other things, this battle is going to be so large. In verses 8 through 10, it says, Behold, it is come, and it is done, saith the Lord God. This is the day whereof I have spoken, and they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth, and shall set fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves and the spears, and shall burn them with fire for 7 years, so that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them, and rob those that rob them, saith the Lord God. So there'll be so many weapons abandoned during this war that it'll be fuel for the people for 7 years. Now that could be a symbolic. Sometimes the number 7 is symbolically used to be complete. The creation was accomplished in 7 days. Maybe it won't literally be 7 years, but it could literally be 7 years. So that there'll be so many weapons abandoned. Another place where the number 7 comes in a prophecy showing how big this will be is here in verse 11. It says, "And it will come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea, and it shall stop the noses of the passengers, and there shall they bury Gog and all of his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamon-Gog. And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land." So all the dead bodies, there'll be so many dead people that they'll be burying the bodies for 7 months. Now the 7 again here might be symbolic, but either way, the idea is that this battle is going to be massive, and in the end, the Lord's people will win it, and people will know that God fights for his people.